For those that don't know me, my name is Ben from Flawless.
It started with oddly satisfying cleanups, the kind you watch for a few seconds and suddenly realize 20 minutes have passed. Overgrown gardens transformed into peaceful retreats, driveways restored from blackened grime to near new, and emotional reactions that pulled millions of viewers straight into the moment. Ben Saunders, the man behind Flawless Cleaning Services, didn't just build a business, he built a reputation for changing lives one property at a time. But lately, some viewers have been asking a quiet question. What really happened to Ben? Because when a channel grows this fast and the projects become bigger, tougher, and more emotional, there's always more going on beneath the surface than the camera shows. The pressure, the expectations, the non-stop workload. It all adds up. Was it simply the weight of success? Did the reality behind those viral transformations start to take a toll? Or is there an even deeper story most people completely missed? Before you assume it's just another feel-good YouTube journey, you might want to hear this. Most people assume Ben Saunders planned this success from the beginning, but the reality is far less glamorous. Before the millions of views and emotional reactions, he was simply running a local exterior cleaning business, taking on the kinds of jobs most people wouldn't think twice about. We're talking weed-choked patios, moss-covered driveways, and gardens so overgrown they looked completely abandoned. It was hard, physical work, and for a long time, almost nobody was watching. Then something unexpected happened. After uploading a few transformation videos online, viewers became hooked on the dramatic before and after results. There's something almost hypnotic about watching years of dirt disappear in minutes, but what truly set Ben apart wasn't just the cleaning. It was the purpose behind it. Instead of focusing only on paying customers, he began taking on jobs for people who genuinely couldn't help themselves. Elderly homeowners, vulnerable residents, and neighbors who had quietly fallen behind suddenly found someone willing to step in without asking for anything in return. The internet noticed, views climbed faster than anyone anticipated, and what started as simple business promotion quickly turned into a rapidly growing platform. With every upload, expectations got higher, the projects got bigger, and the audience kept expanding. But rapid growth has a way of changing everything, and Ben was about to learn that going viral is the easy part. Handling what comes next is where the real challenge begins. What many viewers didn't realize is that these transformations were never just about blasting away dirt. Very quickly, Ben's videos evolved into something much deeper. Stories of people who had been quietly struggling long before the cameras arrived. Behind nearly every overgrown garden was a situation most neighbors never saw. Some homeowners were elderly and physically unable to maintain their property. Others were dealing with personal hardships that made even basic upkeep feel impossible. And when a space falls apart, it often mirrors what's happening in someone's life. Ben understood that. Instead of treating these as ordinary jobs, he leaned into the human side of the work. He began accepting community nominations, with viewers and locals reaching out to share stories of people who truly needed help. What followed were some of the channel's most emotional moments. Reactions filled with disbelief, relief, and sometimes tears as homeowners saw their property restored for the first time in years. But there was another layer most people never stopped to think about. These weren't quick afternoon cleanups anymore. Many projects stretched far beyond what a typical business could justify, demanding long days, serious manpower, and expensive equipment. Yet the camera often captured only the highlight, the satisfying reveal. And as the scale kept growing, so did the pressure. Because turning kindness into content comes with expectations that never seem to shrink. Success can feel exciting from the outside, but behind the scenes, it often moves faster than anyone is prepared for. As Ben's channel exploded in popularity, the size and complexity of the projects began to shift dramatically. What once took a day was now stretching into weeks, sometimes even months. One of the clearest examples was a transformation that kept pulling the team back again and again, turning a simple cleanup into a long-term commitment. Projects like these demanded more than just effort. They required consistency, planning, and the kind of stamina most viewers never consider while watching a 20-minute video. Because here's the part people rarely talk about. Physical labor at that scale doesn't just tire you out for a day, it stacks up. Early mornings, unpredictable weather, heavy machinery, and the constant push to outperform the last video can wear down even the most driven person. And then there's the emotional side. When you step into someone's life and see firsthand what they're going through, it's hard to simply pack up your equipment and move on without carrying some of that weight with you. Over time, those moments add up, creating a different kind of pressure, the silent expectation to keep showing up, keep helping, and somehow keep raising the bar. But the real challenge wasn't just the workload, it was what came with becoming the person everyone counted on. At a glance, it might look like viral videos automatically translate into endless income, but that assumption couldn't be further from the truth. The reality behind large-scale transformation content is far more complicated, and for Ben, the financial side of kindness quickly became impossible to ignore. Think about what goes into just one major cleanup: fuel, professional-grade equipment, repairs, disposal fees, travel, and most importantly, paying a reliable team. Now multiply that across projects that are sometimes done completely free for people in need. Suddenly, what feels like a generous gesture on screen becomes a serious business decision behind the scenes. That's part of the reason Ben introduced fundraising efforts tied to his mission of helping vulnerable homeowners. It wasn't about asking for handouts, it was about sustaining the ability to continue the work without running the business into the ground. Because no matter how strong the intention is, goodwill alone doesn't cover operational costs. But money wasn't the only pressure building in the background. As the audience grew, so did expectations. Each upload had to be bigger, more emotional, more jaw-dropping than the last. Viewers weren't just hoping for another cleanup, they were expecting a life-changing transformation every time. And that creates a quiet but powerful tension. Because when your channel becomes known for changing lives, slowing down almost isn't an option, even when you might need it most. Despite the growing pressure and non-stop demands, something kept pulling Ben back into the work. The moments that reminded him exactly why he started. Because every once in a while, a transformation became more than just a visual upgrade. It became a turning point in someone's life. There were homeowners who hadn't stepped into their own gardens for years, too overwhelmed to face the jungle creeping toward their back doors. Others had slowly withdrawn from neighbors, embarrassed by the state of their property. What looked like neglect was often something much deeper. Isolation, loss, or circumstances that quietly spiraled out of control. Then the cleanup would begin. Truckloads of debris disappeared. Sunlight hit patios that hadn't been visible in ages. Pathways reopened. And with every layer cleared away, you could almost see the emotional weightlifting too. The reactions said it all: stunned silence, shaking voices, sometimes even tears as people realized they finally had their space back. But those weren't just powerful moments for the homeowners. They hit the team just as hard. Because when you witness that level of gratitude firsthand, walking away becomes difficult. Saying no to the next person in need gets harder. So after all the growth, the pressure, and the emotional highs and lows, where is Ben Saunders now? Contrary to what some viewers quietly speculated, he didn't disappear, and there was no dramatic fallout that forced him off the platform. Instead, Ben kept doing what he had always done, showing up, taking on demanding projects, and continuing to expand the reach of flawless cleaning services. But if you look closely, it's clear that experience has reshaped the way he operates. The videos feel more deliberate now. The projects are still impactful, but there's a stronger sense of balance. A sign that going viral taught him an important lesson. Sustainability matters just as much as generosity, because you can't help others if you completely run yourself into the ground. What's become especially clear is that Ben was never chasing internet fame. If anything, the attention simply amplified a mission he was already committed to: restoring spaces and giving people a fresh start when they needed it most. And maybe that's the real twist in this story. There was never a shocking downfall, only the evolution of someone learning how to carry a growing responsibility without losing sight of why it all began. Because in a world obsessed with overnight success, Ben's journey is a reminder that the real challenge isn't rising quickly. It's finding a way to keep going once everyone is watching. What really happened to Ben Saunders isn't a story about scandal, disappearance, or some dramatic collapse like many people might expect. Instead, it's the story of what occurs when an ordinary person builds something so meaningful that the world starts paying attention. Success brought opportunity, but it also brought pressure, responsibility, and the quiet expectation to keep changing lives again and again. Behind every perfectly clean driveway and restored garden is a reality most viewers never fully see. Long days, tough decisions, financial risk, and the emotional weight of stepping into strangers' hardest moments. Yet through all of it, Ben kept moving forward, proving that impact often comes at a cost. Maybe the real takeaway isn't wondering what happened to him, but recognizing what it takes to sustain this kind of work. Because viral transformations may capture our attention for a few minutes, but the commitment behind them tells a much deeper story. One that's still being written today.